Hello everyone, Manithrow here. Welcome to a remake of the Suggestion Saturday video I just recently posted. Mostly due to the fact of I didn't get everything I wanted to get into the video, and there's a few more key points I wanted to actually discuss, and I bombed it. So I decided instead of leaving a video up that was not exactly complete, I'm going to take it down and I'm going to show you guys a whole new completely revamped actually Slayer skill. Not Slayer, summoning. Slayer doesn't really need revamp too much. Okay, so for summoning, there's a lot of flaws to summoning and how it operates, and there's a lot of room for expansion within summoning. Right now, it's basically until you get level 99 summoning, it's not overly useful. Now, they did make great strides recently with creating new ones, like the different types of demons and nihils, all that kind of stuff. Nihil, however you say those. But it still came down to the point of most people will do the Steel Titan, Pack Yak, maybe the Iron Titan, but usually it's like from level 95 up is what people primarily use. Occasionally, yes, I will see the nihils around, but that's about it. Very rarely do I see actual low levels or even mid to high using summons. It's mostly just for bossing, and that's about it, and which is actually extremely disappointing. And usually it's the same exact ones over and over again. So what my suggestion is going to be is this. It's a huge one with a lot of details into it. There's even some new summons I have to throw at it. It's going to be bossing, Slayer, familiars, new types of familiars. So just bear with me as I go through them all and as I do this. But first, we're going to go over the actual layout of the skill. And right now, the layout of the skill is you can get the Spirit Wolf, for example, at level 1. You can make them. It's a decent level to help you out, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. If you make something that is actually near your combat level, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. It's basically for pretty. So, my suggestion is release the level cap of all of them to the very highest tier, which is, I believe, the Steel Titan. So if we can go all the way to the Steel Titan's level, which I can't remember what it is offhand, so we'll load it up here. But once that loads up, what I wanted it to do is every single summons, as you level up your summon level, it levels up too. All the way up to level 99, which is 230. Now, I would like to see summoning go beyond into 120. Main reason being because I want to see boss familiars. I want to see more of the new Slayer type familiars. And by Slayer ones, I'll get to that in a little bit. So it'd be the same level equivalent to whatever 120 would be. So maybe it'd be like 260, 300. Now these are going to start becoming more and more used because they're going to actually provide a very good combat, interaction. Whereas right now, not too much. But to top it off, like I said, with you being able to have them go level up as well, so you could have a Spirit Wolf at level 300 combat, which I know that might sound stupid to some people, but the Spirit Wolf has its own scroll ability, which makes NPC foes flee. That's not that bad. So you also have something like the Thorny Snail. Now, each one will have their own individual stats and strengths and weaknesses, but what was it? Yeah, the Thorny Snail It's a ranged fighter. It has damaging range attack for its scroll ability, so just an extra attack. But it can also carry 3 items. So maybe somebody really likes the look of the Thorny Snail. They think they're so awesome that they want to keep using them. Well, then they can have them go all the way up with them to 120. They can just keep making them. Now, the only problem with it is, as you level up summoning skill, they also level up, which means the shard cost should go up a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit each time. This would make summoning a lot harder to train, but it would make it a lot more useful. So that means it'd be a bigger cash sink, which, in the aspect of grand scale RuneScape right now, money is still flying out the wazoo, even after invention. So if you do this, it'll make a dent more into people's coin purses, if you will. So that's the main thing, is restructuring it to 120, having the familiars being able to go up to 120 with their levels also. So a Spirit Wolf can be just the same level as a Steel Titan. Steel Titan would probably have a higher defense. Spirit Wolf would probably have a higher attack. So it'd be one of those things where you got to kind of plan for how you want to go about it. So that's the first little nugget of this whole thing. The next thing I want to go over is I want to go over Slayer summons, Slayer familiars. Now these would be a whole new string of them. And what it would be is if you take all the Slayer monsters, each one of them, and I mean Slayer monsters, not anything else, just the monsters, and adjust for Slayer. So we're talking, like the Banshees are Slayer, Ripper Demons are Slayer. The specific Slayer monsters, you actually have to have a certain Slayer level in order to attack them. Not Slayer assignments, but Slayer level to attack. So we're talking very few things. Even like the mutated Jidenkos, you have to have a certain Slayer level in order to attack those. They could be as summons. Now, how you would summon these things is, of course, you have your primary charm, and then you would have a secondary charm. It would be a Slayer charm. You could always get these charms just from Slayer assignments and Slayer assignments only. Also, they would drop another item. It would be their essence. And it wouldn't be all the time. It'd just be here and there you could pick up, we'll just use a Ripper Demon for an example. So you could use the Ripper, you could occasionally, on a rare chance, they'll drop a Ripper Demon essence. And then you can pick that up, you can get your Slayer charm, you can get whatever charm they would use otherwise. So it'd be 3 items, since these are going to be a bigger deal. You take these 3, you make it, you can now use a Ripper Demon as a summons. And it lasts, so long, just like everything else, it only lasts so long. And whenever whenever it gets up to there, whenever you get to that level, they can still go up to 120 equivalent level. So they can, let's say it's a Ripper Demon, it can actually still be stronger than a traditional Ripper Demon, because you're summoning stuff from a different plane. You're summoning stuff from somewhere else, and it's a stronger version of it. That's all it is. There doesn't have to be a huge chunk of reasoning behind the fact that they're stronger, other than that you're stronger to pull stronger creatures through to you. So that is the main thing with the Slayer one. Now it can be non-humanoid ones only. The main reason I say that is because to make a humanoid familiar, it just seems very strange. And it cannot be like the new ones, how they're corrupted. Because those are kind of the special ones. They're not a traditional familiar. They're not from another plane. The corrupted ones from Menaphos, those are actually creatures that are pre-existing in the game that have been exposed to Amaskot's corruption in Gielinor. So you cannot be pulling those from another plane. That's my reasoning behind that. So it has to be regular Slayer monsters. So regular Slayer assignments, not your special ones like those. But you could even get, like the spiritual creatures, a spiritual mage and all those. You're pulling them from the other realms, They're spirits, they're ghosts. Okay, so that actually discusses those. Now I want to get into the boss ones. The boss ones, if you remember doing the very first one, was Wolf Whistle for the quest. And you get to that giant Wolpertanger, and then you have to collect all these different items in order to make it, and you had a one-time use. Well, there's something they recently released, and that is the sigils. And instead of going out and having to collect all these things, each boss can drop now a sigil. And these sigils will summon them and they'll do one attack to anything attacking you, and to whatever your target is. And if it's a AoE attack, it will hit everything within a certain radius. Now, what that'll essentially do is it'll make a big AoE attack. And once that attack is actually there and it's done, it disappears again, and since it's a sigil, it has to recharge. So there's a cooldown timer of how often you can use that attack. And it can't be too high of a timer, and it can't be too low of a timer, because if it's too high of a timer, it's going to become useless. It's not going to be very viable. So I'm going to suggest maybe a 5 to 10 minute window in between each one of these attacks. And these sigils, guess what? After you get these sigils, you can get more of these sigils too, but all these bosses also drop essence as well. And you take that essence and you use it with the sigil to recharge it. So if you really like a certain boss, guess what? You're going to be trying to collect these things, and to make it more interesting, it should be a tradable item. Because if it's tradable, it's going to mean there's going to be a lot more cash being exchanged around and used up. So that is another thing. Boss familiars. And least but not last, a few new ones I would like to suggest. And this one is just a completely new familiar in general. It's not Slayer based, it's your basic based. And it is what I want to call is a Shield Maiden. And the Shield Maiden goes anywhere, or goes from the bronze all the way up to the high shield. Simple as that. And then what these Shield Maidens do, you use a kite shield, war shield, whatever shield there is, just not the weak little square ones. So you can use the bronze, the iron, black, white, rune, mithril, adamant, dragon, Bandos war shield, the malevolent ones, the armadillo buckler. You can use the all those kind of shields. And what it'll do is you can make a Shield Maiden based off of those. Now their abilities, I don't have that quite figured out. That's something that's subject to whatever, like their passive abilities. Now their scroll ability will be pretty well the same thing for all of them. Now of course, I was just saying about how you can actually have stronger versions, like let's see, like the bronze one. Well, it could be the equal level to the malevolent Shield Maiden. It'll be equal level, doesn't mean they'll have equal tributes. The malevolent Shield Maiden is going to be a lot more useful. It's going to have a lot higher defense than your, bronze Shield Maiden. It's going to have a lot better defense, a lot better hit points, a lot better attack. It's going to be better. But that's in the same chain. So as they get stronger and stronger, So should the lesser ones be weaker and weaker. That's just how it is. It'd be like, you going out and wearing full bronze when you could be wearing, full malevolent. It'd be the same type of reaction to it. You'll still do decent, but yeah. Now keep in mind that's only for the ones that are like the same type. If you make a spirit scorpion, it's not going to be compared to the forge regent. It's not going to be compared to that. They're two different creatures. They don't have to be, one has to be weaker or stronger than the other. It's just going to be, if this one fights with ranged abilities and the other one is melee, well then it's going to have a better attack for range. So you want to plan accordingly and attack something with range. So it's basically like that kind of thing. And now, like the Minotaurs, okay. The Rune Minotaur is going to be stronger in the end than the Bronze Minotaur. It's just one of those kind of things. It's only comparable to the same type. And Titans are not, because Titans are something different. And that's actually going to get into my next one. And it's going to be releasing more Titans. So instead of just having the basic Titans that we have now, and now that all the talismans have been released, even the Soul Talisman, release all Titans all the way up to Soul, including the Elemental Talisman. So an Elemental Titan has all the elements to it, and then a Omni Titan. Now the Omni Titan would be the best Titan in the game, because it has all the abilities of all the Titans fused in it, and it does one major, elemental type attack. And it can have a plethora of different type of effects with it. Some would be, of course, passive, and then others would be through the ability, or the scroll. So that is actually one of the big ones, so that would be level 120 summoning in order to use that one. That's why I would suggest not only a rework of the skill, but to take it and try to expand it so people can use more stuff. Because right now, I'm tired of seeing Steel Titans. I don't know about you guys. I'm tired of seeing just a pack Yaks. I'm tired of seeing, the same 4 or 5 summons just floating around. I want to see more types. I mean, it would be amazing to go out and see somebody fighting with a Hydra just because they like the look of the Hydra, not because it's their strongest one. But see, each one of these also has different abilities and scroll abilities. Now some do overlap a little bit. Excuse me. But that's okay, because in the end, you're going to have that. You're going to have some very similar abilities, unless what Jackets wants to do is go through their abilities, and grant each one a very unique ability. Like, I think it would be kind of neat if I know there's another one that does a type of scare type attack, makes NPC foes flee, like the Spirit Wolf does. So maybe make, instead of the Spirit Wolf doing that, the Spirit Wolf, its scroll ability has a bleed effect, and the target gets a damage over time type attack on it, and it would be from the Spirit Wolf. That would be amazing. See, there's a lot of things since summoning came out first that are out now that could really change the entire skill as a whole. And that's why I would suggest, instead of just letting it go like it's kind of been, just doing this complete revamp, making it to 120, making it so all the familiars can go up to the same exact level, and if they're tiered, like bronze, silver, not bronze, silver, but well, they could add silver titan in there, But, if it's like, the Iron Titan, they should have a Bronze Titan. But the only thing of it is, the Bronze Titan will be weaker than the Iron because it's a tier 1. Those are tiered. Whereas the other ones are not tiered. Like a Spirit Spider, it cannot be compared to the Thorny Snail. They're two different entities, two different creatures. Where, the Bronze, Iron Titan is different than, in the same tier is the Steel Titan. It's just one should be actually a little bit stronger than the other, defensively and attack. It just makes sense because, like I said before, if you're using full steel and somebody's using full iron, you're same levels otherwise, the person using full steel, odds are, is going to win because they have the better gear. So it'd be the same thing, it's just different. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that is actually the full layout. And there's one more type of Slayer creature I wanted to actually announce that I really want to see in this game. And that is the Gemstone Dragon Whelps. So these Gemstone Dragon Whelps, much like the other Slayer creatures, you get the essence, you get the stuff you need from those type of Gemstone Dragons. And just as an example, what they can do is the Onyx Whelp. It would be like a little tiny flying dragon, because you don't want the full scale dragon because that's huge. You don't want the little baby dragon because they don't look that great. But you want a whelp. So they're little tiny flying kind of dragons that will fly behind you. And the Onyx one, if you use its scroll ability, it can damage your target just like the regular Onyx dragon can. It'll use that attack. If it hits it successfully, or if it hits a group, that's even better yet. Because I think the square is like a 4x4 square attack radius. So if anything within that 4x4 gets hit, that is your target, it heals both the summons and you. That's its scroll ability. Not only does it heal you, but it does damage. Who can object to that? And the Shield Maiden, if I didn't say its ability, I apologize, I'll say it now. What they would do is you would use shields as your secondary ingredient. So you'd be using anywhere from bronze up to malevolent currently. And then what they do is, as you use their scroll ability, their regular ability, their passive ability, is they have a higher aggro pull. So they will pull more aggro if you're both attacking the same target. It'll pull, and it should have the basic, it should be the primary target. But the scroll ability is, let's say you're in a multi-combat zone, what it'll do is it'll pull anything that is targeting you currently that it is not targeting, and it'll pull it towards it. This way, you can keep using that ability and keep pulling stuff away from you to your tank. This is a perfect way for people to be able to use summons in a very powerful way. It's not OP because you can still get attacked, but if planned correctly, this could be a huge game changer for RuneScape and its combat capabilities. So let me know what you guys think. Sorry about completely redoing this episode and then uploading it a day late. So I apologize for that. But I wanted to make sure this was completely laid out, completely done for you guys. And I felt like the last video just wasn't up to the standards that it should be for a skill slash 120 slash rework, because it needs both, in my personal opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys have any suggestions for it, let me know and we'll go over it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, later guys.